This week in the United States Senate, 27 Democrats voted to block the sale of tens of thousands of assault rifles to Israel as it continues its battle with Islamic terrorists backed by Iran. That's more than half the Democrat conference. 24 Democrats voted to block the sale of 5,000 heavy bombs and guidance kits to Israel. These weren't gifts, folks. It wasn't aid. It was a purchase agreement that they opposed. It was a direct rejection of support for our strongest ally in the Middle East fighting against radical Islam. Vote was a proxy attack by Marxists in the Democratic Party who have joined together with radical Islamists to attack Israel, America, and the West. After Israel's bold retaliation against Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Iran since the October 7th massacre, the left has struggled to temper its nature to criticize Israel, but no more. As anti-Semitic attacks become commonplace and excused here and elsewhere, it is clear there has been a shift in tone that benefits the terrorists. Over the last 2 weeks, French President Emmanuel Macron said that he would recognize a Palestinian state. The UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer has said that he will do it as well unless Israel just stops fighting against a terrorist organization. Other European nations may do the same. Whether it's the Democrats here or liberals elsewhere, this anti-Israel sentiment is largely coming from one corner of the political spectrum. Starmer, of course, is the head of the Liberal Labour Party in the UK. Macron's Renaissance Party is a liberal progressive party. Both are basically the equivalent of the American Democratic Party, which is also increasingly embracing anti-Israel and anti-Semitic positions. Just ask our nation's largest teachers union. Folks, this has never been about land, and it's a much bigger story than just about Israel. It's about power and advancing a radical Islamist worldview in which Jews are exterminated, and once that happens, Islamists will increase their targets on Christians. Politics makes for strange bedfellows. This is happening at a time when we are also seeing a fusion between the agendas of the left, radical Islam, and communist China. Palestinian statehood, let's be clear, has been offered and accepted by Israel numerous times. Each time, it was rejected by Palestinian leadership because their cause is at its core about killing Jews and eradicating Israel. This is all about power. Canada, the UK, France, and even Democrats here have made the situation worse. There's a little bit of history for you. In 1937, the Peel Commission proposal was the first that would have recognized a Palestinian state. It was accepted in principle by pro-Jewish statehood advocates, but rejected by the Palestinians. In 1947, the United Nations partition plan was for a two-state solution, with separate Jewish and Arab states and an internationalized Jerusalem. It was accepted by Jewish leadership. It was rejected by Arab leaders who invaded the area after Israel's declaration of independence in 1948. In the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, in the post-Six-Day War period, Israel repeatedly was willing to discuss at a minimum limited autonomy for the Palestinians, including at the Camp David Accords in 1978. Those efforts were rejected. In 2000, at the Camp David Summit, Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak offered a Palestinian state covering most of the West Bank and Gaza and shared sovereignty in East Jerusalem. Bill Clinton famously said following that meeting, Yasser Arafat was there for 14 days, and he said no to everything. In 2001, during the Taba talks, Israel offered 96% of the West Bank, Gaza, and a shared Jerusalem. Palestinians would not advance the negotiations to conclusion. In 2003, the Roadmap for Peace, or Quartet plan, proposed in part by the U.S. and the UN, would have led to a Palestinian state by 2005. Israel accepted that plan as well. In 2008, Israeli Prime Minister Olmert offered to Palestinian President Abbas up to 94% of the West Bank with land swaps, a capital in East Jerusalem, and an international control of holy sites. Palestinians did not accept the offer. The week before the October 7th massacre, a deal with the Saudis was on the table, and even more concessions were on the table to help the population in Gaza. Every time, Israel has been met with thousands of attacks on its people. Why? Because Judaism is the foundation of biblical history and Christian principles are the foundation of Western society, including the concepts of pluralism and religious freedom and self-governance. The more the far left controls the Democratic Party here, or any party anywhere, the central component of leftism, which is militant atheism or secularism, becomes a core plank in their agenda. That aids in the advance of radical Islam and communism. For the Europeans, it's about fear. Starmer and Macron are terrified. They are terrified of the rise of Sharia law and the increasing political and social power of the growing Muslim populations in their countries. Here, Democrats are just driving their secular statist worldview by attempting to distance the U.S. from Israel and turn a blind eye to anti-Semitism. And to be fair, you have some nuts on the right, like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, who are playing this dangerous game as well. Let me be clear, they too, along with any other so-called Republican or conservative that is cowed by this pressure, only plays into the hands of this terror cabal, and it's going to do the bidding of radical Islamists and communist China. Abandoning or weakening Israel means supporting the real coordinated effort to denigrate and destroy Western civilization. You see, all of this is much, much bigger than Israel.
Information. Truth. Is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.